have fidelity to it, but whatever we're choosing to do, sustainable and affordable for our budget. And again, it's got to meet the needs of our students and our staff. And from preliminary signs, this has given us a great opportunity to implement into seals as we are sort of forced into this change in our curriculum. So we see this as an early sign of success as we continue to build and explore a lot of different options for that. So tonight we're really asking for permission and the opportunity to get a little deeper and to pilot into this curriculum and this resource to see if it is going to meet what we're hoping. Open for questions and clarifications we might need.
I'm just looking at some of the stuff on the website right now. Are you looking at the writing piece as well?
So that is a piece that's there, and that is something as we work with their ELA curriculum, you might see an opportunity to bridge that gap and connect those two together. Because again, that is part of that cross academic piece. We're not there yet in that discussion, but that is something that jumped out to me as well when I was exploring. So yes, that is something of interest. See how that compares to what we do from our ELA committee.
Is that something that you would need? Can we purchase that at a later time?
No, it could be. That would be. It could be a different purchase, right?
And we're not asking for purchase just yet. Really, just to pilot it to see. I think what we're finding is when Mr. Powell has been working with the elementary school in developing their curriculum with the new standards and doing the proficiency scales, he said this history science really lines up with their units and their classes.
And it looks like is it written or creative content?
I know it's Pennsylvania based. There's several schools within, for example, West York School District. Trimmer Elementary is one of the fifth grade teacher, Miss Coons. That's her former employer before. They were vetting two resources or two curriculums previously, with Mystery Science being one of them. So I've had an opportunity to be in some conversations with her about some of their experiences that they have vetted, and again, some very positive feedback that we've received. So.
Well, I guess I have a question on that. Can that come out of this committee, or does it need to be voted on by the board? So if it had to be voted on by the board, we would ask for that to be voted on the 8th, and then they could start it either right before or right after Christmas hearing. One of them.
That's being looked up. So yeah, what we're looking to do is with most pilots, the tradition like a 6-week to a 9-week window of time that you're really digging into and teaching from that pilot. So the hope would be to begin those early conversations here in December, but really pushing it into the second half of the year as we head into January, into February, creating that window. And obviously what we would be electing to focus on these areas that would help prepare kids heading into that spring PSSA assessments. Yeah, I mean, they provided us access to all the resources, except for writing, we don't have access to that. But we have gotten access to the units, the lessons, the curriculum, as it would be if we were purchasing. So, that was again one of the attractive pieces to them. It wasn't we could only have access to a small segment of the curriculum. They were giving us access to it. Not just us, but it would be anybody who needs to go that information.
The 2022 updated version of policy 109 delegates authority to the
just really emphasize that what we're asking is to dig deeper into this curriculum, to get a better understanding of what it can possibly provide for our staff and our students, and then we would be coming back to the board at a later point in time with the results of that feedback and that pilot to say, it's something we weren't interested in, but what we A, B, and C, we're transitioning, whatever that transition looks like, or do the opposite, which is it seems to be meeting our needs, we're not seeing anything else that can meet our needs, and now we're asking the board to move forward to the next step. So either way, there would be some kind of follow-up feedback about the progress of what we're doing.
Then you would have to, if you guys decide that you like this or want to purchase, then you'll have to approve it.
Right, that would go
Yeah, and then it
into
would go into the
Good evening, ACES families and staff. As we bring our school conferences to a close, we want to thank you for taking the time to connect with us and support your child's learning. We hope everyone has a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the break, enjoy your families, and have a great evening.
We don't get to leave yet, though. So,
Sorry.
does anybody have any more questions? Mr. Moran or Dr. Perry? Is the committee in favor of moving this forward and bringing the pilot?
Thank you. Appreciate that. I will just give you a preview. I think I have told this committee that we're working on our ELA committee and resource for this year as well. So Mr. Moran will probably be joining us again in January to start the pilot. We'll go through some of the same process that they've been doing for science and the resource that we would pilot and for our ELA. He'll be joining us again soon. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, guys.
The next two things on the agenda, or B, are the electives for the middle school. These were the only changes to the course curriculum selection for the middle school. And you will see that two of them are science or STEM related, make block and block ultimate. Going into mechanical structures, electronic modules, programming, things of that nature. Mrs. Whittle is looking to expand the writing center work that she is doing by offering a writing center and tutoring for students who are struggling with their writing. And then also in the science realm would be environmental science, and this still plays still to the skills standards that we're implementing. We're finding that there is some standards that, especially around the technology, engineering, and environmental literacy, that's not really being taught in other courses. So they designed this course along with the help of Mr. Powell and the science teachers at the middle school to help meet these standards. So this would fall into their rotation as sixth graders. So with their health, PE, they would have this skill standards course, and then the other courses that they have, like art, music, so it would be part of the rotation. So those are the changes at the middle school. We did link, because there were some questions last year, and this will continue to evolve as the two buildings come together. Like for next year, we have 8th graders who will be able to take world languages the full year as an 8th grader. So we will continue to align these, but you'll see that there is a link to the top, or at the top, that takes you through all of the different electives are on the bottom and what courses they feed into at the high school. And we will continue to take a look at those, take a look at the scheduling of what that looks like, and how they will keep feeding into these courses, and if they, if we need to start minimizing some of them so that kids can take more of the year-long courses, like the intro to ags, the world languages and stuff, then you would see some of these start to maybe disappear. Any questions on the middle
environmental science, that's almost going to be like a special
Yes,
station?
it'll be part of the special education.
Okay, so what's it replacing?
I don't think it is replacing something. I think they had a .25 that had, Courtney and I talked about this. They had a .25 course that they were no longer teaching because we're getting an extra of something, and that was the PD. People were looking at the PD. She and I talked about it. I just am not recalling right now. I'm sorry. The high school didn't really have a whole lot of changes either. A lot of it was semantics. The only two new courses that they have are Yearbook 2 and Journalism 2 to play off of Yearbook 1 and those made both those courses, well, Journalism 2 is 11, 12 right now, and the Yearbook is 10 to 12, but I also see that as possibly a course that could morph into a 7, 8, 9 or an 8, 9 band where kids would be able to do that. So I think they're doing a lot of work trying to get things aligned, 7 to 12, 6 to 12. The only other changes I would note on there is down at the bottom of that change cover sheet is the courses that are now receiving credit, college credit through Harrisburg University, which would be our AP Calc and AP Physics. And then we were able to get, finally, through Del Val, that our Accounting 1 and Accounting 2 are getting the Accounting Del Val credit. The Family and Consumer Science, this is not a new course, it's just something they are reinstating. It's the independent living. Again, with the merger of the two buildings, we now have Mrs. Dull, who will be up at the high school full time with her middle school and high school schedule, so that opens up some time in the schedule. And then we're just changing the title of our commercial arts class, which is taught by Mr. Kapig, to graphic design. And we did have to remove the EMT program that was previously held at Fairfield because they are no longer offering that. But we do have kids who are able to take that through another program through Adams County. Through the one that those are the changes for the high school. Questions on either?
First for the electives for the middle school, do you know when the electives start at middle school? Like,
I want to say around 2020, 2021, somewhere in that area. It's when they moved away from the teaming aspect and went into more of the electives.
we know, because I've been in all of the sport, the high school, shown improvement. Some correlation between when these electives started and when the school started dropping. I'm just curious. I've heard some feedback from that, but it would have been like possibly things go back. They could focus on more classes, maybe not couple electives, but instead of having you right now, keeping that to advance math and reading. So just like put them in for aspects of the classes.
When I do that, I'm also going to take a look at staffing in your schedules, because you would have to have 1 core on every team. So I'll take a look at that as well.
Okay.
And I say that, I'm sorry, I say that because currently, so Ms. Pittman is the only 7th grade science teacher. So if we go back to teaming, that would add science. So I want to make sure that I get that.
To piggyback on that first question, when they implemented these, because these were after I'm assuming that took time away from your core classes?
What it did, no, it replaced their, they used to go through the same special cycle. Like they would all go through the art, PE, health, music, I don't remember what all theirs were, but, so they were going through that. So now instead of going through that wheel again of special, they now self-select what they're level.
So they don't have to take all of it.
Not after 6th grade. They can choose to take it as an elective in 7th and 8th grade. So that's what it takes.
So the kids, the time the kids are doing the program, social studies and English hasn't changed. They're still getting.
I want to say no to that, but I will double check. Because one of it would be their specials. Yeah, let me double check.
And then a question I had was why is the high school wanting to reduce the required number of total credits from 25 to 75?
That is a great question, thank you. I should have pointed that out. They are looking to change that because the schedule next year, right now they have an 8-period day, and with the merger of the two buildings happening next year, they're moving to a 7-period day, so that all their schedules will be aligned. So they're losing one class a year, so that's four classes over the time of high school that they would lose. So we were looking to reduce the number of credits that they would have to pass for graduation. We're still above the state limit, but, so 7 times 4 is 28. We always like to leave, every school district does it, they leave a buffer. It depends on how many credits you can actually earn, and then they usually back it down by 4. So that if you have a kid who struggles and has to retake a subject or anything like that, that they're still eligible for graduation within the 4 years. Like if you failed English your 9th grade year and you needed to double up in 10th grade, you would still have room in your schedule to do that and still graduate. That's why the reduction.
I had the same, I had that written down.
Yeah,
too for a
sorry, I
question.
should have highlighted
No,
that.
That's okay, I just didn't explain, because we're not doing that now, between the municipal and merging, why is there an issue sharing a teacher? Is that part of the?
Say that, why aren't we doing what now?
Because we're going from an 8-day
To a 7.
to a 7-day, or a 7-period.
So are they gonna do the same build schedule?
Yes, yes. They'll be very close on a bell schedule, but 6th grade will move, they're in the 100 wing by themselves, so they'll kind of be on their own bell schedule, we just won't have a bell. Like, they'll just move between those classes. And then 7 through 12 would be one bell schedule, but they have hallway routes and stuff figured out as far as how that travel looks and how they relocate. They did talk about trying to make it a 2-minute leeway that maybe 9 to 12 travels. And this, like maybe they get out a minute or 2 earlier and then the middle school kids transition. So they're still working on some of that. But even with that, we wouldn't lose any teaching periods the way we are now. Like Mrs. All, who teaches in both, loses a teaching period every day because of travel. Mr. Casey loses a teaching period every day. So they're trying, even if they do 2 separate schedules, it'll be by like a minute or 2 off of the bell schedule. So that anybody, if they're in an 8-9 class especially, that, or if a teacher is teaching a 9th grade class and then next they're teaching an 8th grade class, the kids aren't waiting in the hallway to get into their class.
I'm just trying to understand what's changing, that we're going from the 8 to the 7, and then our privates are less. So that's like 2.
So 7, because they'll match schedules. Like the middle school is currently on a 7-period day, and they will be on a 7-period day at the high school.
So I guess the middle school has more time
Yes,
in the day.
Yeah.
They have more time during their class.
each class.
The high school would then require that more time.
They would require more time in each of those 7 periods. They're also
That'd be
working.
more advantageous than either adding
wanted to open up the scheduling parameters so that kids could, when they were in ninth grade, they were really limited what they could take, and it would also limit the teachers that we could use. So our ninth grade teachers, when they had that block, taught less periods than our other teachers because they didn't have as many available. We did not want to take the middle school down to, or up to 8 periods because of the less amount of time in classes. So we didn't want to lessen the amount of instructional time that we had. Like, we didn't want to move that to an 8 period.
Is that because of the electives? Like, would the electives interfere with that at the middle school?
Moving it to an 8 period day.
They probably get
I think
another
they
one.
would end up with another